Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be replacing a inducer fan motor on this surprise Goodman. I'm not a fan of these. Everything seems to wear out, especially on the heating side more than other manufacturers, is what I've noticed. And I already previously diagnosed this, but I can quickly show you how I did that. I know I've done that in the past already. Pretty easy. So typically, you're going to get a fault code or blinking code right there of 2 flashes. And that ended up being, you look here, 2 blinks, pressure switch open, and of course the first thing you would go check is the pressure switch, right? But when you go and turn it on, you should be familiar with the sequence of operation on a furnace and know that before a switch can even close, the inducer fan motor has to close it, right? So in short, this was not turning on. This inducer fan motor was just humming. So I ended up checking that it was getting 240 volts from our board here on our line and on our D1 on our draft, okay? And I was. Plus, this thing is super hot. One more thing you can do is, with it off, you can try spinning the little fan blade in there, and if it does not move or it is scrapey and grindy, that is also a dead giveaway. Okay, so that's pretty much how you diagnose that. That's not necessarily what this video is about. It's really to how to remove it and put a new one in. Okay, but I just diagnosed it for you so you have that in the future. Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Take this panel off, okay, and go from there. So we're gonna go ahead. I just shut the gas off. We're gonna take this off. We're gonna undo these screws here, okay, and then this panel should come off to give us better access. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Actually, this screw doesn't have to come off, but if you see on the back side here, we do have to remove either that hose clamp or this hose clamp for this thing to come out. So just get in there with some needle nose pliers and they should come right off. Alright, so there it is. Took that off, and this panel should at that point come out. Alright, better to use 2 hands, but in my case I only have the one, so that's why I have to be constantly taking off, stopping and starting the camera. Come on, it'll come out. I promise if you use 2 hands, it's way easier. Okay, so once you remove that panel, you will now have a ton of access to remove this inducer motor. Okay, so obviously the power's off. I'm sure you figured that out, or I might have mentioned it earlier in the video, I don't remember, but power's off. So first thing that we do is we start removing the pressure switch. Sometimes you have to be very careful because these things like to break on you. So just do it kind of carefully. There it is. There's that. And then we're going to go ahead and remove this pipe here, our flue vent there. We'll go ahead and remove that. It just has just one screw, maybe one in the back. No, I think it's just the one. And then after that, we want to undo our wires, our high voltage wires, which I mentioned earlier, I believe, was just follow them back to the board, and then we're gonna have L2 and D1. Sometimes you have to break off some of these little clips and you can put new ones back in. Sometimes you don't, but you know, gonna just do it depending on how your situation is. All right, again, I'm gonna use 2 hands here. So there it is, I got the wires out of the way. So now we'll go ahead and remove our B vent, and then our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws there. All right, there's the old one. Even came with the gasket off, or most of it at least. So what you're gonna want to do is scrape any remaining of, you know, that gasket, and make sure you put your new one on. It's very important, do not forget. And then here we have the new part. It's a little different, but after 13-14 years, you know, it's normal for them to make changes on their parts. So let's go ahead and scrape that off. I'll put my new gasket on, and I will put my motor on the screws in reverse order. Okay, and I've never been told to do this, but just like our mechanical side kind of comes in and tells us to just kind of use like a pattern where you kind of put your screw on here, and then you do your opposite corner, and then your opposite corner, and you get what I'm saying, right? So that's how I would recommend you put the screws on. Okay, and what I like to do is, it's a little tricky sometimes, or if it's your first time, it will be a little tricky. But I like to start with this top screw, kind of line up the gasket with the hole, and kind of put that screw just to start, and then you kind of turn everything one way or the other, including the gasket, you know, to line everything up. So, all right, but that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead now and put our screws, and then we'll reuse our vent. Put that on there with the 1 set screw, and wire up exactly the same way it used to be. Okay, so there it is. All the screws are in. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and, oh, sorry, it also is wired in for the high voltage. You can give it a little spin. See how it spins freely now. That was one of the dead giveaways earlier. But let's go ahead and put this panel back on. And after we have this panel on, we can go ahead and fire it up and test it out. Okay, so there it is. Got the gas back on, cooked up. Got the drain line back on. And very important not to forget to put that on, which I did. This drain line, obviously, it's not right. However, it is, you know, nothing that needs to be done today, because this is not a condensing furnace and will not create any condensation. So I'll make a note, and hopefully we'll get that done in the springtime. Okay, so all the screws are on. Well, there's a screw there, but I'll put it on here shortly. But now it's time to put the pressure switch back on and fire this bad boy up. All right, got that on there. Let's go ahead and start it up. Okay, there it is. We'll let it run through its cycle and see if there isn't other issues, which is always a possibility. But because the inducer fan motor is it's the first step in the furnace sequence, we wouldn't know, right? So we'll go ahead and run it. But that's pretty much all I got for y'all. As always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and we will see y'all on the next one.